All right, everybody. This is Tiara International, and we are doing our Friday Facebook Live. I'm Betsy Sobiech here, and with me today is Elizabeth Ruske.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
And we are doing Friday Lives because at some point every week it seems like we stumble upon a topic either through our clients or through our own team. Feel like we'd like to share a little bit more about our thoughts on our experiences, our insights, and this week we are talking about gratitude. Here in the United States, we celebrate Thanksgiving next week, so it's on the top of everyone's minds. And often you'll see, like in your social media feeds, whether it's your Facebook feed, your Twitter feed, or even newspaper articles, a lot of things about gratitude practices and thankfulness and everything like that. So we also have realized, though, from our own personal experiences and even what some of our friends or our family or colleagues have shared, that gratitude sometimes doesn't feel as good as it should, that there are some times when we feel a little resistant to gratitude, or we feel a little irritated by all the gratefulness that's around us. And it's always kind of funny because it's like, it's a gratitude, right? Like, what could be wrong with gratitude? And everyone knows, all the science proves that being grateful and appreciative and having a gratitude practice is really on the same path of being fulfilled and being happy and everything like that. So why in the world would we feel grouchy or irritable about gratitude? So we, of course, at Tiara decided that we wanted to look at that more closely, because for us, whenever there's a certain feeling or emotion, it's like a data point where we get to go, oh, what is that? And from a place of awareness and curiosity, sort of explore. And so we got to talk about it this week with our community of coaches and other folks that support Tiara. And we're like, oh, there is something here, actually. There is kind of this thread that no one really wants to talk about, which is when gratitude makes you grouchy, is how I like to say it. So Beth, I know that we started talking about this on Monday of this week, and you even had some personal experiences yourself with this. So what do you have to share? Where do you want to start the conversation today?
Well, I think it's just hilarious that, gratitude can make us grouchy. But it's kind of like when if you've been around somebody who is annoyingly happy, you're like, what are they drinking? What are they eating? What's up with them? And it's like, instead of having it rub off, like, you make them wrong for being happy. And it's just funny that we do stuff like that as human beings. Like, we can't appreciate, where somebody else is.
Mm-hmm.
And what got me thinking about that, this week was my husband and I took a drive up by his parents. And when we were coming out, he had purposely left my car open, like the trunk up, because he didn't want the things that were in the back to get, too warm. And I remember walking away from the car and looking at him and saying, are you sure that's necessary? And B, isn't that going to hurt the car, like the battery or something? And he just looked at me and said, no. And of course he kind of rolled his eyes like, I don't know what I'm talking about. And when it comes to mechanical things, I usually don't. But my intuitive hit was that's kind of stupid. And anyway, so a few hours later, we come back out and our car won't start. And, it wasn't one of those, oh, I told you so moments. It was just like, we both knew what caused it. And we were able to quickly jump it and move on. And it was interesting because as we were pulling away, it's not like he said, oh, I'm sorry, or you were right, or anything like that. He said to me, aren't we lucky that happened here, where we had, utensils and another car accessible, and, not somewhere on the road, or in the dead of winter as we're heading into winter where your car might not start. I kind of just looked at him and I was like, well, I guess I could be grateful for that and not annoyed that we're now going to be late for the next thing on our day, or not. I would have preferred that we didn't do that today. It was just kind of one of those funny things. And then I started looking at all of the ways that when something happens that you don't like, it's like we try to make up a reason that it's okay. And that was where we started to get really into some really good dialogue with our fellow Tiara, leaders and coaches about, what's up with that? Like, why is that?
Right. So we definitely are not taking a stand that people shouldn't be grateful and
No.
appreciative, because of course that's the case. But what you're talking about there, and that's a kind of a small way, but I think we also do this in bigger ways, is that something happens, like we have a flat tire or our car battery's dead, or we get bad news from a family member, or something that, is even more traumatic. And sometimes we just don't allow the processing of the emotion, like, wow, that makes me angry, or I'm disappointed, or I'm scared, or whatever the thing is. And we try to move almost too quickly from a mind place to, like, I've got to be positive, I've got to look on the flip side, everybody's trying their best, like whatever the thing is. And we just don't give ourselves like a compassionate minute to just be like, this is not what I had planned, and it is frustrating, and I feel angry about it, or whatever, before we move on to how we're going to go forward, and what the lesson that might be that's learned, or what we are grateful for in the process, or the gifts that we received in the process. So it's not that we don't want to get there, because we don't want to stay stuck in persistent complaining, or always looking at the negative side, or being justified in our anger, or something like that. Yet sometimes we just need a minute. Like, I say that in my head kind of a lot to myself, like, just give me a minute. And it's just like, you just have to tune in with yourself, feel the feelings, name the process, and then move on. So I think that is one of the ways that we can resist gratitude, or like looking on the bright side, is because we just haven't like really actually allowed ourselves to feel the reactive feeling in the moment.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of reasons why. I mean, some is cultural, some is how you were raised. I know in our house, it was, it could always be worse. That was the phrase, like, look, it could always be worse, so be okay with what this is,
Right.
and you're kind of like, how could this be worse?
Yeah. Or let's not try to make it. Let's not go there. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Or when you compare yourself to, when you're feeling bad about something, and then you look at like somebody else who just lost a husband, or, got an awful diagnosis, or something that's life altering and significant. And then you feel like your emotion is this big by comparison.
Right.
And that's another thing. It's like, oh, well, then I shouldn't feel this way, and you immediately try to, manage it another way.
Yeah.
That's annoying. That's annoying. It's like, as you're saying, like, you didn't get a chance to even process it, to even get to a legitimate feeling of gratitude.
Yeah. So sometimes we just need a moment to be a human being, and to have whatever stress response we're experiencing. I think the other thing that was shared, and we have this pulled together in a Tiara blog too. So our website is tiara-leadership.com, and our latest blog is on this topic, because we thought it was interesting to put out for this week. And it captures some of these top themes about why we may resist being grateful. And another one is that if we're just feeling depleted ourselves, like if we're in a space where we're just feeling like we're giving, or we haven't really been acknowledged by others, then we might not have a lot to, give as far as gratitude. Or when we hear other people being really grateful or appreciative, we might feel sort of resentful or bitter, because we're just feeling like we haven't really received much. And that, this time of year is busy. We're heading into a holiday time, the end of the year. So that's something to also really be tuned into and be careful of, because at the end of the day, even though we wish like that somebody would just swoop in and take care of all of our things and ourselves and tell us how awesome and wonderful we are, we really have to do it for ourselves. We really have to know when to stop, when to rest. We have to know what to acknowledge ourselves for. We need to be proud of our own selves in a way. So it's almost like we need to start by thanking ourselves in a way before we can even really be totally in the flow of like giving and receiving appreciation more freely.
Yeah. I know back in the day when my sons were younger, we would have a practice when we would gather at dinner, and, we'd talk about what they were grateful for in the day. And I can't tell you the number of days that the answers they gave were just rote, get mom off my back, let's move on so I could eat message. Like, I'm grateful for the Miami Dolphins football team. I'm grateful for, that I got to go to gym class today. I mean, just, and it's like you would find as a parent, it was like, aren't you grateful for more things, And so here I am judging what they're grateful for,
right.
Which is hilarious. But fast forward that to today, and if I hear somebody say something in a very flippant, oh, I'm so blessed, or I'm so grateful, or I appreciate you, or something like that, it triggers the same response in me. Like I'm just like, I just want to roll my eyes at them. I'm like, are you really?
Yeah. Well, I think there's something again, like in one of the tools that we work with Tiara are around true leadership tools and how to be more authentic in your leadership and to really come from a sense of purpose and your true self. And we use this metaphor around the three queens or the three leadership personas. We talk about when someone's in kind of a shadowy place as the dark queen. And when someone's in kind of that like striving showman place, we talk about it being like the clever queen. And then we talk about the true queen being more authentic. And what I hear you saying there is sort of that clever queen kind of energy of like, here's my success strategy. Here's the persona I want. Here's like what I've trained myself to say, whatever those things are, but they don't really hold any weight. They don't really feel like they're from the heart. It just feels like they're checking a box or doing what they're supposed to do. And then that can feel like it's not really gratitude or not really appreciation. So I can understand where you're coming from there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also think that sometimes too, people, like I'm weird about gratitude. I was noticing because we've been thinking about this week. Sometimes when people do actually like thank me for something and I think it wasn't a big deal. Like there's this other gratitude thing that happens. Like if someone says, thank you so much for doing that, or thank you for spending the weekend with my kid, or thank you, like whatever the thing is, like I was like, yeah. And so a lot of times I don't really just like either allow someone's appreciation for me really into myself, like at a heart level. And then I also sometimes don't really take the time to really, like, I know that I'm profoundly grateful for so many things in my life, but it's almost like I feel like I would be overwhelmed if I really allowed myself to feel all of the gratefulness at the deepest level. So I think I sometimes stop myself from being grateful or resist all of that, just kind of like to protect myself. Like it feels almost like too open or too vulnerable or whatever. I mean, I always like it when I really let down my guard and go there, but I hadn't really ever thought before about gratitude being vulnerable or gratitude being a place where, you let down your defenses in some way. And I do think that that's just an insight for me this week, or something to look at, like, oh, if I'm resisting the gratitude practice because I just don't want to feel that deeply, whoa, like that's something to think about.
Betsy, I think the gratitude that we're talking about here, the vulnerability around it, it's a human to human connection. So, that can be scary for people to let in that, intense feeling, so to speak. But, I think gratitude freely given and gratitude graciously received is really beautiful. I mean, it's soul touching, in terms of like just that feeling of just goodness all around you. And that's, I think, one of the themes we were talking about this week at the leadership team level is, there's a way to be about gratitude versus the doing of gratitude. And I use the example, I started the year doing a 21-day gratitude journal. Or it might even been a 30-day. I don't know what the assignment was. But I got up and dutifully wrote out everything every morning that I was grateful for. And it actually caused me stress. It was like, I didn't feel better, and gratitude is one of the things that's kind of like my go-to thing. Like I just, I can just openly, I'm very good at acknowledging others and being appreciative and verbalizing it. And I do it in a way that they feel it, and I don't say it if I don't mean it. So if I'm silent, those of you who know me watching this video, and I don't say anything, it's because I'm not feeling anything. But if I say it, I truly mean it. And most people feel that. I couldn't get there in that very rote practice. And I think you were the one who said, oh, so you were doing gratitude, not feeling gratitude. And that was interesting, that there's a
Right.
big distinction.
Right. And I think that also points to, because everyone, really does tout for, scientific reasons and scientifically studied results, that gratitude is a way to feeling happier and feeling more fulfilled and getting more of what you want. Yet I think the trap is to use gratitude as with an agenda. Like if you're really like, okay, well, I'm going to be really grateful so that then I can get all this stuff or whatever the thing is, like then it might not totally work. I don't know. But I think probably the theme throughout all of it is that if anybody is sensing that irritation or resistance to gratitude or appreciation, either feeling it, giving it, or receiving it, that it's just a real opportunity to just to stop for a minute and be like, what is the thing? Like, is there something I need myself? Is there something that it's helpful for me to see? Is there a way I could allow and be more in the spirit, without really asking for anything in return, to see? Because I think once you're in that open-hearted space, or that being space of gratitude and appreciation, I do think all those practices, the ones that you like, I mean, you should never do anything that doesn't feel great, but like whether it's a gratitude list or a gratitude journal or meditation or visualization, or even like thank you notes, that we wrote when we were kids. Some people still write them as grown-ups, I hear. Anyway, it's like those things do make a difference when they're from that really authentic place. So we do have the blog out there at our website, again, tiara-leadership.com. In the bottom left corner, you'll see our latest blog, also under latest thinking. And you can see for yourself how we articulate what these different things might be going on for you if you're in that resistant place, and also some ways that you might be able to resolve that. Is there anything else, Beth, that you want to talk about as we talk about gratitude, what you want to leave people with?
I think the thing would be to really be clear for yourself. What's the one thing that you just really are happy about or delighted about? And if you can just focus on the one thing that matters to you right now and be present to that, it will help you be more present to the other things in your life. But just getting present to the one thing could be a door opener, to other things. And also protect yourself. That would be my second piece of advice. So if you're around people who are kind of Debbie Downers or just not interested in sharing in your joy, be careful, because they also rub off on you and they can steal your joy. So, it's not that you don't want to be around them, but what I'm saying is don't be naive and think it's your job to change them, and also don't allow them to rob you of your joy.
Yeah. I just randomly, Lucinda Williams is a music person that I like, and she has a song called "You Took My Joy and I Want It Back." I actually have a T-shirt that says like "You took my joy, I want it back." I know, I never really thought it. It's funny. Hadn't heard that many other places. So yes, and I think the thing I would leave people with is to just, allow themselves to feel all the emotions. I think sometimes I feel like for the people and things I'm most grateful for in my life, there's no way I could ever express it such that they understand it. And so why bother? And let me just get what's done on my to-do list and, all that different stuff. But to just pause and feel really that deep experience of gratitude. And then even if it's, inelegant or messy or something like that, just share it. Let people know. But make sure you take care of yourself in the process too, for sure.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I'm grateful for you, Betsy Sobiech.
I am grateful for you as well, and hope you have an awesome Thanksgiving week next week.
Yes, you as well. And to all of you listening and watching, whether you're in the States or out of the States, hopefully the week will feel like it's been a week where you could pause and reflect and enjoy whatever is around you.
Yes, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.